Everyone, welcome to the show. I have a Trump regret story to share with you guys, but this isn't the standard FAFO video. So, this is more of a deep dive into the thought process of a single man who had voted for Trump, and he has now come to deeply regret it. Before I get into the details, do me a huge favor, hit the subscribe button below this video. It's free for you and it really helps the show. So, here's the deal. A Harvard University student secretly voted for Donald Trump in 2024, and he just recently published an anonymous article in the Harvard Independent, which is the student newspaper. So he's basically trying to make amends for his vote and his decision. And the reason he voted, I shouldn't say anonymously, but secretly, surreptitiously, is because he was concerned because he was obviously surrounded by a lot of liberal leaning people and he didn't want to be canceled. He didn't want to lose friends. So he explained that he was struggling with this decision before casting his ballot. He wrote, quote, "Friends from Harvard made the choice sound easy. Vote for a fascist or a future of progress. Meanwhile, my hometown friends argued the opposite. Vote for someone who cares about us or Biden 2.0. I was torn. Regardless of their opinions, neither option felt right to me. One felt like a betrayal of my school community. The other felt like a rejection of my roots. I didn't want to let either of them down or disappoint either side." And then he explained his family is very conservative. His grandfather had him listening like Rush Limbaugh when he was a kid. So he kind of went along with their ideology. And even up to the 2016 election, which he wasn't old enough to vote then. But then he said, even before he went to Harvard, he started to change his thinking. He didn't become a liberal, but he started to become more moderate and see things with a more nuanced view. So this student hoped that he would be able to vote for Nikki Haley, he said, but then she lost her primary. So then he was basically committed to vote for Trump, but then his ballot showed up. And he said at that point, he wasn't really quite so certain. He kept putting it in the drawer, saying, I'll fill it out later. And he said, part of it was that he aligned with Kamala Harris on some issues like climate change policy. But he said he was turned off when Harris wouldn't admit to or confirm that she would do anything different than Biden. And he said he felt like she didn't do anything to distance herself from the establishment. But the student wrote, quote, "Even I look back and cringe at some of my thought process." Because in the end, he did vote for Donald Trump and JD Vance. And he now says, quote, "I look back and feel regret." And the student mentioned that Trump's cabinet picks, his stance on the tariffs, his relentless attacks on DEI, those were the things that started to send him down this road of regret. And he said that he's also disgusted with all of Trump's grievances, his ridiculous actions and talk about, like Canada taking them over, the Gulf of Mexico. And he wrote, quote, "Is this really what I voted for? It seems he has blown all the policies he preached on the campaign trail so far out of the bounds I thought he would ever take it. Now here we are. Trump is actively trying to dismantle my school community, and I voted for it. I've watched him work to destroy the research system that I came here for. He continues to threaten my international friends with deportation. I have listened to my international peers express fear about studying at this university, which we all came to together. To add insult to injury, his policies seem to hurt the manufacturing industry I sought to help. And in the midst of it all, I am reminded of what I had decided in November. I can't help but feel complicit. I am the dumb, uneducated, brainless fool that the liberals say handed Trump this presidency. I mean, you kind of are, but the moral arc of this student brings me hope. I will say, and I've said this before: anyone who has the courage to step forward and admit that they made a mistake, I will embrace them. I will welcome them with open arms. So he now says the Democrats are the quote unquote party of morality and tolerance. That was a direct quote from him. And he vowed to, quote, educate myself better before I vote in the future and realize the weight of my vote will or realize the weight my vote will have because no vote is inconsequential. And he ended his op-ed with this quote, I have learned I need to listen to and consider others' perspectives. I must self-critique and grow because this is what college and being a participatory citizen mean. This article is the first step in my journey. That being said, I still consider myself center right. I agree with many of the viewpoints I used to have, but I now have an even greater understanding of politics and its implications. I've learned two things from my experience here. One, in reality, Trump doesn't mesh with my views at all. And two, Trump lies. He painted a picture that played in my mind of America's golden future, yet it's been 100 days and I'm still waiting to see a win come out of any of his policies. You don't vote with facts alone. You vote with identity. I am shaped by my school community, by my hometown, and by my own convictions. And my vote must reflect the well being of all three. Let it be known, not every Trump voter is proud of what's happening. Some of us are reckoning with it. Some of us are trying to do better. So, a few thoughts here. First of all, I wish he would have put his name on this. I wish he would have had the courage to put his name on this piece because you know how this is going to go down. MAGA is going to say, fake news, liberal cope. They're making all this stuff up, right? This just happened. I don't know if you guys remember, but I had a gentleman on a little while ago and he expressed his regret for voting for Trump, for being part of the MAGA coalition, and he has now since rebuked that side. He has taken a step back. He regrets his vote immensely. In fact, he just said the other day he has now become radicalized and he will never vote for another Republican. So that was Ken Price, who I interviewed a couple months ago, I think it was now. Anyway, he has MAGA making videos and claiming that he is being paid and that he's faking the whole thing. So he thinks it's funny. He's irritated by it, but he also thinks it's funny that, he's gotten under their skin so much that they're the ones doing the cope, right? Nobody regrets their vote. That's not true. that must be why they're always in the comments section on these videos, right? My second thought on this Harvard student is I applaud him. I applaud him for realizing that he made a mistake. I applaud him for vowing to do better and to be better. That is always welcome. I always appreciate that in human beings. And then finally, what I hope that he comes around to eventually is that the people he grew up with, including his family, are wildly misinformed and uninformed. I mean, that is just blatant at this point. His classmates are obviously the ones who are more realistic, especially when it comes to Trump and what he would do and who he is. It doesn't matter that this man is more fiscally conservative. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And out of the two groups that are tugging at his loyalty, only one of these groups accurately called it. Only one of these two groups accurately said what Trump is, that he is a fascist. The other group, his hometown friends and family, they, I'm not going to call them stupid, but they are obviously either not educating themselves on the facts or they don't care. They just like Trump as he is, and they're totally cool with fascism. So hopefully, he is educated enough at this point going to Harvard that he can think through that and realize that he's being led down the wrong path by one group. And those are the people that he grew up with. So, anyway, I just thought this was a very interesting story. And, like I said, a window into the mind of someone who was, at the time going through all the thought process of how do I pick Trump over the logical choice, right? The non fascist, the person who isn't out to destroy the country. Was she perfect? Is she, my ideal candidate? No, but compared to Trump, I mean, it's night and day. It's night and day. So it wasn't even a close call. But yeah, these are the things that they were thinking. Some of these people, the more intelligent ones, these are the points of contention that they were dealing with, and the questions they had in their mind and their thought process. So make of it what you will. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.